It's going to be one of these mishmash videos. First thing I want to show you is, do you ever wonder how people sync up multiple camera angles? Well, I've got the GoPro over here that I'm going to be showing some close-up footage of some of these different devices that I'm going to be talking about in this mishmash video. And I haven't started rolling with that yet, so I just started rolling with it now. I'm shooting at that 1080, 24 frames a second, medium field of view, which I found to be a nice compromise. I think it works really well. I don't want anything super wide when I'm just holding up little bits in front of it. And now what I'm going to do is snap my fingers 3 times. And it's kind of like the poor man's clapper. When I put these 2 files into Final Cut Pro, those snaps will show up very nicely on the waveform, and I just move them and line them up. There is software that can do it for you. Final Cut Pro can even has an option that is supposed to sync multiple clips based on audio. I've had really mixed results with it, and other more professional type people that I've talked to that do a lot of video work don't use it. Pluralize from Red Giant is something that I hear about frequently. I've actually used the demo version, and it's quite good to easily sync up multiple tracks. Now what's nice here is basically I've got 2 cameras running. I started them about the same time, and they're going to keep running continuously throughout this shot. If I was starting and stopping from multiple cameras, then it's very difficult to sync all of that up, and something like Pluralize would work really well. First thing I wanted to talk about is Yongnuo. So I did a video about a cheap Yongnuo flash a few weeks ago, and then as a follow-up talked about these guys. It was all kind of connected to the discussion of wireless flash in the Canon cameras, because as you know, or maybe not as you know, but the Canon T5i, T4i, 70D can all do wireless flash, but what catches people a lot of times is they expect that to be radio, no flash actually happening on the camera side, and that's not how they work. For those cameras to trigger an external flash, I've got a 600 RT here, really sweet flash, they need to fire their own flash. And it doesn't necessarily affect the exposure, but it can be seen in certain situations. So people wanted to know, well, how can you fire an external flash without using that onboard flash? And the cheap answer is these little Yongnuos. These are those 623Cs, RF for radio frequency. They're very dumb. You put one on the camera, you hook the flash into the other, and when the camera is fired, it tells radio frequency, little signals through the air, bloop, 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 and it fires the flash. That's good. I've heard people have had mixed results with these. I've, basically tested them for the video and then played with them a little bit more, and they worked every time for me and had a decent range. Somebody I saw online said they have ranges about 200 to 300 meters. That's huge. I don't know if and that was line of sight, but it doesn't necessarily need to be over shorter distances. I have gone outside of this room behind a closed door. That's one of the other nice things about radio frequency. I'm not sure why you would be firing a flash in a room that you're not in with the camera, but it's still nice to know that it does work. But what if you want some more control? What if you want to be able to talk to that external flash, adjust it, change it from ETTL to manual? Because when you use those dumb ones, can't even do ETTL. It just fires at whatever power you've set the flash. The flash is in manual mode, even if it offers ETTL. No communication there. So I wanted to compare and contrast to these more expensive Yongnuos as well. These are the YN-622Cs, and I got them stuck on the camera. You really have to unscrew that all the way. There we go. So they look like this. And build quality is quite nice. They run about $80, whereas these dumb ones are about $30. So for $50 more, what do you get? Well, you get the ability first to have multiple channels. You can kind of do that with the dumb ones. And you can set them up so that they're firing some of them, all of them, and in different ratios. And let me put it back on the camera right after I just took it off. And slide a flash into another one. So it could be any flash. I'm happening to use the 600 here. And make sure the flash is awake. And right now the flash is in manual mode. But if I go into my menu on the back of my camera and I go to Flash Control and go to External Flash Function Settings, I have controls over this flash. That is nice. So this flash can be someplace far away or closer, but just not attached to the camera, and I can change it from manual to ETTL. I can also zoom the flash, and this is something you might be able to hear if I put it right next to the GoPro and then tell it to zoom. It's really exciting watching me. You hear that? A little bit of a bzzz. I can adjust the flash exposure compensation on the back here. Let's move this back out of the way and show you this right here too. So this isn't a review. This is kind of a, hey, I'm going to be reviewing these soon. This is an option if you want some more control over your flash. And for $80, it seems like a good bargain. Again, have not played with them more than just putting them on here right now. And you even have a couple of controls over the external flash functions. Now, still not as much as when you put a 600 on your camera. The RT in the 600 name stands for radio transmission. So these basically are flashes that have a system like this Yongnuo radio transmitter built in, except whereas I'd call this smart, I would call this genius. Lots and lots of control over the flash, complete control, very easy to work with, very quick, it's very nice. Although I tell you what, if I set this into manual, that external flash function setting, and then I have full power over the manual, and truthfully that's mostly what I do when we use these at weddings. Most of the time the external flash during the reception is used for rim lighting, so it's on the opposite side of the dance floor, firing at very low power and sometimes adjusting the power output. I have two of them, and usually not firing both of them at the same time, but firing one or the other depending on whatever is most directly across the dance floor from me. And so you need to switch those things back and forth on there when you have more than one, and the 600s all talk to each other very nicely. But I am able to adjust the manual exposure output right here on the back of the camera that will affect this flash. So that's kind of nifty. So I'll be talking more about those soon. And, you know, this isn't something that I need. I just want to talk about it. So what should I do with it when I'm done? I think I should give it away. So keep paying attention to that. We'll have something appropriate to give that away soon. Another thing that arrived recently that I've been curious to try for a while, and other people have asked about it, is one of these photo diox, diox? FD to EF, no, sorry. It's a Nikon to EF adapter. Basically, you can use Nikon lenses on a Canon camera. What have I found so far? It's very, very finicky. I have a couple of Nikon lenses. One that I was very excited to buy. Sorry. One that I was very excited to buy for $5 is this 28mm f2.8 Star Blitz lens. And I've used this on the D5200. It's a lot of fun, complete manual aperture control. So that is fun to rotate that. And then I got a nice macro. It's the Nikon 105. And with some work, you can get this, it very nicely fits into the Canon, but then getting a Nikon lens to seat in here or sit in here tightly and firmly is very tricky. I've had some success with the little lens, not so much with the macro. It's got a lot of play, and I can't quite tell what is the difference between when one locks down or the other. But it was about $12. I think it was one of the lightning deals this past week, and so I thought I'd try it out, and I'll be playing with it some more and giving you some more results. Another thing that I wanted to talk about briefly, I've had this forever. This is a Kickstarter, one of the few Kickstarters that I've actually received the product for so far. This is this FPG-1001 Arca-style fusion plate. Basically what it is a quick release tripod plate in the Arca Swiss style that also happens to have a little flip out bracket at the bottom for connecting a black rapid strap or other like strap. It's pretty nifty. I think it was Roy who originally pointed this out to me. I've been very happy with it. It's nice to have on there because then you always have, all of my tripod heads are this Arca Swiss style. And so I always have a quick release plate on the camera, and I can still use a black rapid strap very quickly and very nicely. Only downside is they used a little bit too much glue underneath the rubber pad there, and the first couple of times that I really tightened it down, it oozed out, and now it's collected some cat hairs and just some gummy bits and stuff. But other than that, very, very nice. I actually have no idea what they're selling these for now, but these are on FPGear.com. So it's a nice little thing. You do need a little hex wrench to install that or loosen it, but very good. Speaking of tripods, something else that arrived this week, something else that I should give away sometime soon because I don't need more than one. This is the Dolica 57-inch, model number TX57B105. It's actually kind of important, the model number, because there was some discussion, and I wanted to solve this mystery. They are selling this now on Amazon for about $59. $59 as I'm recording this. They're also selling a package at Costco, which looks like the same tripod, for $59. It seems like the Costco one, though, is an upgraded one. What people are saying is that it does convert into a monopod. This one does not seem to convert to a monopod, and I also think the Costco one is supposed to have a slightly different head, maybe an upgraded head that they say. Let's set those differences aside for a second. It does appear to be a different one, and just talk generally about this. This is basically a kind of a knockoff model or a copy of that MiPhoto travel tripod, which I own, I've reviewed, and I'm very happy with. It doesn't become the largest tripod, and it is not the most stable tripod as you get up to those higher heights, but it packs down and fits in my small think tank backpack. I love that. And the way it does that, and this one is the same style, is the legs will flip up above the head. And right now, let me pull this one back down, loosen the center column, watch me struggle. There we go. And now, so it really packs down quite small. It's about 2.5 pounds. It's hefty. It feels substantial, and the MiPhoto one does as well. The head is quite nice, a nice ball head. And you've got the major right here. It's all loosey, and you've got a panning lock right here, so the whole thing will twist. And, it feels good. It looks good. There's a little bit of catchiness to this, meaning I don't feel it rotates smoothly all the way around. But one other thing that I really like is that the head is Arca Swiss enough that something like this guy will fit in there. Will it? It did a second ago. Let's watch. Yes, if you hold it down on the spring. And that is secure. So that's nice. A cheap tripod, and cheap tripod usually isn't a good thing. I use that line when I talked about the other Dolica, but they seem to be doing a really nice job. Everything feels substantial. Some people aren't crazy about the whole twist lock leg thing, but I like how quick. Do you see how I did all of those? And then you just come back and they're all tight, loose, and then twist, and it's good. Legs are stiff. It has 3 catch points. My MiPhoto actually only has 2, kind of a narrow or a spread wide or a narrow. This has got 3. And you got the middle position, and then you can pull this little thing out and almost flat. This also does something else that my MiPhoto doesn't. My MiPhoto was about $130. I think it sells for a little bit less now. On the bottom is a little hook. Many tripods have this. You're supposed to hang a heavy bag. Gives it a little bit more stability, less likely to tip over. But that hook is attached to a plate that screws out. When that plate screws out, the whole center post comes out, and you can put it in upside down for some serious macro work, so you can get very, very close. Actually, the tripod that this camera is sitting on does that as well. It even has an additional feature where it'll slide in on the side, and I often use that more than flipping it completely upside down. But that's nice. That's a nice feature that it will do that completely upside down. $59 is what I said, and I'm going to call that a thumbs up or a buy based on just a little bit of playing with it. It's nice. Should you get this, or should you get that Dolica Proline 62-inch? 57 in the model number for this is how tall it gets. But like the MiPhoto, at 57 inches, it is not something that I would put an expensive camera on the top of. You're going to buy this because you want something that packs down very small, and you need a tripod when you're out traveling. This is perfect. Again, this is not a full review, but this is just kind of I think it's going to work, and I'm happy with it, and I think somebody else will be happy with it too. And after Christmas or after a holidays present, this will probably be given away then. Okay. Talked about the flash thingamabobs. I talked about the little tripod plate, this tripod, the photodiodes. Don't forget that I have a Lightroom giveaway. 2 copies of Lightroom sitting around here somewhere. And one will be given away next Friday, and one will be given away before next Friday. Watch the Facebook page carefully for some clues about which day, and there'll be a fairly quick hour or 2 long way to enter and win. So thanks so much for watching. Sorry if you didn't like this kind of mishmash. Think of it as a quick catch-up, quick podcast, quick what's coming up. Oh, I didn't say what's coming up. Next week I'm going to have out a video that just kind of showcases the quality of difference between a D5200, 5300, 5D Mark III, a 70D shooting video, very similar to this right here. Also have a 70D complete tour of all of the basically buttons and what they do on the 70D. That's part of a very beginning 70D user guide. If you're interested in the 70D user guide that I'm slowly going to be putting together with a complete release date sometime in early spring, leave a comment down below that you're interested so I know how hard I should be working on this. But it is something that I will hope to get out in early spring. And I was asked to do a how did I get started video, and I would like to get that done too before the holidays, because when the holidays come, family time, taking a bit of a vacation right after family time, so I won't be back producing lots of videos until mid-January. It seems kind of funny to say that. It's now mid-December, but it all starts to come fast and furious, and it'll be the new year before we know it. Thanks so much for watching, and if you've got any questions about anything I just covered in this or things that you would like to see covered in the future, please just leave a comment down below, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Thanks so much for watching.